My name is Olufemi Sheyi. I'm a real estate salesman. I buy, build, and sell real estate. And welcome to Fireside Conversation. Today I'm going to be talking about 5 figures with additional bonus that every salesperson must know, master, and understand if you want to succeed as a salesperson. Why do you need to understand those figures? Now, the thing about sales is, first of all, it's a goal or target-driven the craft. It means that you want to say, this is how much I want to do. So once you have those numbers, it helps you to understand what is required, what is the goal at the end of the day. That's number one. Number two, it helps you to understand what is required so that you can achieve that goal. And then it helps you to actually look at the milestone to say, okay, have I gotten to step 1, step 2, step 3? The problem sometimes is when you don't put a milestone, it could be a very tiring journey. But when you actually have those numbers, you have to say, milestone 1, I've done that. You can take it as a success step. Milestone 2, I've done that. And that actually energizes your journey, helps you to actually push further. And then also, it helps you to determine the quantum of activity you need to do to actually achieve your goal. And then it helps you to celebrate the wins that you're going to have along the journey. If you don't learn to break it down and celebrate the wins, it could become tiring and you could become fagged out psychologically and emotionally, because that is the nature of sales. So what are those figures that are very important? I'm going to try to break them down as much as possible over the next 8 to 10 minutes so that you can go sit down today. So the first one is actually to look at what they call the budget or revenue number. The first question you want to ask if you're a salesperson is, how much do I want to generate from my sales effort? Because that's number one thing. That is where you start from. So if you're selling a house, let's say you're an independent broker and you're listening to me today, you want to actually sit down and say, look, how much do I want to generate in terms of sales now from the beginning of the year? So 2025 is fast approaching. You want to say, okay, in 2025, I want to generate 1 billion in sales. And that is a fantastic target to actually have. That's the first thing. That is what you call your revenue target. Remember, revenue is different from your profit or your personal income, because you know that you earn a commission on what you generate. So your income target is is the second number that you need to understand. You want to say, because I want to earn 100 million naira, and most of the commission I'm going to get from the sales that I make is about 10%. So if I want to earn 100 million, it means I have to sell 1 billion to actually generate 100 million naira income. So that is the second figure you feel. The first one is your global revenue. The second one is your income, your budget. That's the first one. The second one is your income, or what you call your quote unquote your profit. You know, you'll be shocked that a lot of salespeople can walk into a year, can walk into a quarter, can walk into a month, and they do not have specific idea of what they want to achieve. They just want to wing it as they go along. That is a recipe, because success is defined in this way. It is not the size of what you've achieved, it's size of what you achieve compared to what is set out to achieve. So if you are set out to do 1 billion in income and then you do 100 million, while 100 million is great, it is just 10% of what you were supposed to do. So it helps to drive you. So once you understand those two figures, the next step of activity is now to ask, what do I need to do to achieve my budget and then to achieve my profitability? And that is, let's break it down to number one. The first number you need to understand is the lead number. And the lead number is very simple. What is a lead? A lead is a potential customer that can purchase your product. That is what it is. Potential because they've not purchased. Maybe they interacted with your ad. Maybe somebody referred them to you. Maybe you stumbled on the number, or maybe the person gave you the card. That is a lead. Anybody that qualifies to procure, to purchase your product, potentially is a lead for you. That is the first thing. The first number you need to understand is the lead number, because it determines what everything. The second number, I'm going to just run through them, then I'm going to break them down, is nurture number. From the time you make contact with them to the time they buy, you keep nurturing. So let's say you get in contact, you're trying to sell a 5-bedroom duplex somewhere in GRA Keda, and then somebody, you ran an ad that, 5-bedroom, somebody clicked on it, provides a detail. That is a lead. And then also, but remember, not all those that actually get into contact with you would actually eventually continue to engage. Some will just cut you off. Some will not, even respond to your. But the next set of numbers is the nurture number. How many people have made contact with you that you are grooming and gradually moving along to the potential sales? What are those things that fall into the nurture number? So you're looking at what are the elements of nurture number for the typical real estate sales that I mentioned earlier. The person is saying, okay, first of all, you make contact, you're a lead. That's number one. Then two, I actually book a meeting with you as part of the nurture process. I'm engaging with you, I'm nurturing you, preparing you for the venture sales. That is one. Apart from the meeting, after you've gone through the meeting, I send my brochure to you, I send the subscription form to you, and then maybe you are still thinking about it, you're just trying to make up your mind. I'm sending further communication, I'm sending maybe my newsletter, I'm sending some videos that is relevant to your investment decision. I'm trying to nurture you to help you towards that decision that you want to make. That is the second level of that. And then the third one is the conversion. Conversion means that of the people that actually engage with you at the beginning, the lead number, how many of them eventually will buy? Now, by the way, I'll quickly dial back a bit. The nurture number can be broken down to like 2-3 different steps, but we're going to skip that for the sake of this video because of our time. But if you look at the conversion number, it's very simple, it's very easy to calculate. You see, how many of the people that are getting the contact with at the lead level do I end up selling to? So if you get in contact with 100 and then you end up selling to 1, your conversion number is 1 divided by 100. So that is 1%. And most people that are listening to me today, conversion ratio will usually be between 1 to 5%. What it means is that for every 100 people you speak with, you engage with at the lead level, only 1 to 5 of them will buy, 95 will not buy. Why is this number important? I'm going to actually relate it. And then the last number is profitability, which means that, remember, it's different from budget, it's different from income. What's the difference between that? Because you would assume that your income, what comes into you in terms of commission, is supposed to be your profit. It's not. Remember, you're spending money on ads, you're spending money on nurture, you're spending money to set up your email system, you're spending money to do your videos, you're spending money on calls to make sure you get them along that funnel until they buy. So when you need to learn to actually net off those costs to determine, okay, now I sold 1 billion, my commission is 100 million, I spent 15 million on digital ad, I spent 5 million on newspaper, and then I spent on my infrastructure of nurture, I spent another 10 million. So that's about 25 million. You net it off from that. That brings your profit to 75. How do you put all these things together? If you don't understand those numbers, that means you're not running your business, your sales career or your sales endeavor like a business, and you would just be subject to the vagaries of the time. One, if you're excited, you sell. If you're sad, you don't do stuff. So let's see how this is relevant. If you know that this is what the income level I want to earn, I've set it at 100, you know that each unit, you want to earn, your budget is 1 billion. That's what you want to raise. That's what you want to sell. That is the total revenue you want to get. That's number one. Number two, you know that your commission is 10%, right? That's number two. So you know that it's 100 million that you must earn at the end of that year. So how will those numbers come to play? You remember, I came here and I say your conversion ratio is how many people buy compared to how many people get in contact with you at the lead level. If you know from statistics, from experience, that your conversion ratio is 5%. What it means is for every unit, for every 100 people you speak with, only 5 people will buy. And you know that because you already understand this number, and you say, look, I want to do 1 billion, you can tell yourself, I will only sell properties that are 100 million because I'm comfortable within that range. That is my area of strength. So it means that you want to sell minimum of 10 to generate your budget, your global revenue. That's one. So since you know you're selling minimum ticket, or your ticket of sales is about 100 million, you know you need to do 10. So as you plan, if you understand this figure, it helps you to plan, to know exactly even the choice of the product you want to sell. So you know that now that I want to do 10. If I'm going to do 10, for every 100 is only 5 that I would sell to your conversion ratio, mind you. So you know that if you want to do 10, you need to do how many leads do you need to generate? That is about 200. So that you can get your 10. You can see how understanding the sales number would help you to plan out what your strategy will be. So first of all, you know 1 billion, 100 million revenue. My conversion rate is 5%, means for every 100 I sell 5. So I need to sell 200. So you know that I need 200 leads. So it jumps back here. You need 200 leads to actually get to your target. So as you set your budget, you know that per lead, what is going to cost you per lead when you advertise on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Google, whatever it is, your cost per lead is about 20,000 or let's say 100,000. So you know that for me to generate 200 leads, if the cost per lead is 100,000, that means I need to spend, how much is that? that's about 20 million, right? So when you're budgeting at the beginning of the month, you already know the number of leads. You know what it's going to cost you to get one lead. So you can set a budget for your advert. You know, at the beginning of the year, I need to have a budget of 20 million so that I can generate 200 leads. And you know that, your attrition rate, as you move from one part of the funnel to the other, 20 or 30% of them will drop, will not follow you through the nurture funnel. So what you simply do is, as those people drop, you know that this is what is expected. What are those things? Why are those numbers very important? Number one, like I said at the beginning, it helps you to plan. Number two, it helps you to look at the milestone that you need to achieve. So when people drop from your needs and you get to nurture and just about 4 or 5 are relating with you, you are not sad because you understand, you've anticipated that. So you understand this is what is expected. We cannot be shocked by what is expected. It helps you to actually retain your confidence, to retain your morale as a salesperson. So, and then you get here, you are getting the number that you want to get. You can see how understanding those 5 figures can transform your business, because from beginning, you know how much you want to achieve, and then you know how much you're going to spend. You know how many no's you are going to get. You have an estimate of how many no's you're going to get. You know how many yeses you expect. And then from here, once you get here, you can actually, am I profitable or not? That is the profitability number. Most salespeople are never clear about this figure. And that is why they flounder around. That is why, they can't define, there's no benchmark that says, this is my benchmark for success. This is what I need to do here. This is what I need to do there. You can see how understanding that number helps you to plan. And then, apart from all these ones that I've said, one major part of why you need to understand that number is because it helps you to actually become more efficient, to actually clean up your process. Because you can look at it, my conversion number is 5%. And then you can ask yourself, how do I optimize? How do I make sure I move my conversion number from 5% to 10%? Because what it means is that if your cost per lead is 100,000, if your conversion rate is 5% and you need to convert 10 people, you will spend 20 million. But if you can sit down and ask yourself that, how can I move my conversion rate from 5% to 10%? What you are simply doing by moving it from 5% to 10% is to cut your cost of lead generation by 2. Because what it means is now that you moved it to 10%, you only need to get 100 leads to get 10%. You can see how simple understanding of this number would help you to know, to plan, to optimize what you do. And then if you understand this number, you know that I generate 12 leads with 1 million. My nurture is about 95. My conversion rate is 10%. And this one, you can keep asking, continuous improvement. You can keep asking, how do I improve the numbers along the sales funnel? And then you know that, okay, maybe my problem is I keep generating 200 leads, but my conversion rate is not going up. Then you want to say, okay, maybe I don't know how to close. And then you can go for a training on how to close better. Or you can say, okay, maybe my nurture number is significantly drops. How do I up my nurture number? Because I get 200 leads, but the ones that get into the conversion stage is very low. Maybe my nurturing process is wrong. So how do I continue to engage with people that come into my funnel? Maybe before I call them or send them an SMS, and then 2 days later, I call them again, and so on and so forth. You can ask, okay, what if I send a gift? What if I send an information product? What if I set up a call instead of doing just an email, instead of doing that, so that the number of the drop from your lead number to nurture number is significantly reduced? What this number does to you is to help you to create a structure that you can continually monitor, that you can continually optimize, that you continually squeeze value from, and that can continually build a machine that will continue to yield the money. That is where we're going to stop along the 5 sales number that people need. It's actually more than 5. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's 5 that you need to know so that you can actually become a better salesperson and be more successful in your sales career. I hope this session has been of help to you. If you're a realtor, if you're a consultant, if you're a real estate agent, if this has been helpful to you, I'd like you to just click on the like button. I'd like you to subscribe to our channel for more on sales related sessions like this. And then beyond that, I would appreciate if you actually click on that subscribe button. I have a team behind the camera, and they've insisted that one way I can pay them for the work they do, and they've been very supportive, is by actually asking you to subscribe and increasing the subscriber base. So please, if this has been useful, kindly subscribe at Kasafina Development on Facebook, at Kasafina Development on Instagram, and Kasafina TV on YouTube. Thank you so much for being